Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. Today's video is going to be a 3 looks, 1 palette, but today we're going to be using the Nomad Provence palette. I put up a poll on my Instagram as well as on my community tab here on YouTube, and this one won by 7 votes between this and the Profusion Ethereal palette. So I will be filming the 3 looks, 1 palette with that one next, I promise. But for today, we're gonna be focusing on this Nomad palette. If you wanna see me create 2 additional looks with this palette, I'm gonna have my review video linked in the eye down below for you. I went ahead and created 2 looks in that video, and you can kind of get a good idea of all of the colors for the most part. I think I dipped into like almost all of them. So I'm gonna have that linked for you, but I'm gonna try and create 3 different looks than what I've already featured on my channel. If you wanna know my general thoughts or anything about this palette, as it is pretty new to the market, I will also refer you to that video, but let's go ahead and jump in with look number 1. Okay, so for the first look, I have kind of a general idea of what I want to do. I was kind of trying to figure out where I wanted to go with this palette, and I'm thinking I'm gonna end up leaning towards the pink tones in the palette because I wanted to kind of focus on this blush kind of at the same time. If you didn't have this blush, you could really mix together the 2 of these shades in the palette to use them as a blush. I think that'd be really pretty, but I just was kind of looking at like what goes best with this blush, and I think I'm going to end up kind of staying in this region. I primed my eyes with the Urban Decay primer potion and then set it down with a pressed powder. And then I'm going to start out with the shade Rosé. So my plan is to do kind of like an all matte look and then use this shade here on the inner corner. I might end up changing my dress, but this is just what I was wearing today. And I think that these kind of pink and purple tones here might go with the look, but we'll kind of see at the end. It might end up kind of looking like too much. But for now, I'm just going to put this shade in the crease and then slightly blend it up. Since I set down the eyeshadow base with powder, I'm kind of hoping that this will blend a little bit lighter. That is the one con for most of my Nomad palettes, is that there's just not a lot of like transition type shades for what I like, because I really like it to kind of like blend into my skin tone, whereas like it's really bright right now. So there's typically not a shade like that, what I would at least reach for. Next, I'm gonna go into this shade here. I'm gonna make sure to tap the brush off, and I wanna put this kind of on the outer part of the lid. But I'm gonna blend it all the way in to the inner part of the lid as well. Once I don't really have anything on the brush, I'm kind of blending it everywhere, but I wanted most of the pigment to be on the outer portion of the lid. I blended that shade up way too high on this other eye, so I'm just gonna use my face powder from CoverGirl and try to kind of tone that down some. Something else I really like to do if I want to kind of tone it down is I just kind of stamp over it with my face sponge. And a lot of the times this can really help tone down your eyeshadow because it's gonna still have a little bit of whatever base products you use in it. I'm actually gonna pick up more of the shade Rosé, the really light pink, with a flat shader brush. And I'm gonna kind of pack this on the inner part of the lid. I'm actually going to go ahead and change because I feel like with the colorful dress and the blush and the eyes, just too much, so I'll be right back. With another brush, I'm going to go into the shade Macarons. This one is a little bit more of like a red tone, berry, and I want to pack this on the very outer corner. I'm going to go in one more time with the more like raspberry kind of shade and blend this on the outer half of the lid. I'm going to pick up a little bit of Rosé with my finger and just pack this on the front part again. I feel like the brush didn't pack it on as heavily as I really wanted it to be, which is more like this. And then I'm just going to try and blend them a little bit. Yeah, I think that's really nice. Okay, I'm very happy with where this is at right now. So the last thing is I just want to take the shimmery pink and use this as the inner corner highlight. And I think I'll use the shade Rosé on the lower lash line also. I'm going to try and pick up the shimmer shade with my finger because I feel like it's not really translating as bold at all with the brush. So I'm just going to tap this in the inner corner. Yeah, it gives a nice little pop to the look, I feel like. And it is like a little bit of a duochrome shade too, so that's really nice. So I'm going to pile up the mascara as usual. This one is the Lancome Lash Idole. This one was the birthday gift from Ulta. This is not a cruelty-free brand. All right, that is gonna be it for look number 1. Also, I looked back and realized that when I used my sponge to fix my eyeshadow, that I also lightened my brow. And sometimes it's kind of like hard to see those things until I watch it back because all the lights on me are very light in my eyes. So I try to fix it. Hopefully they're a little bit closer than they were before. But yeah, that's going to be it for look number 1. I'm happy with how it turned out. I really like the all matte look with a little pop of shimmer on the inner corner. And I'm thinking for look number 2, I want to dip into the yellow shades, but we'll have to see kind of like what mood I'm in tomorrow when I film that part. But yeah, I'm really excited with how the pink look turned out. So let me go ahead and tell you what's on my face real quick. For highlight, I'm wearing the Nomad Stockholm highlight. This one is in Midnight Sun. And then, like I showed you earlier, this is the blush from Kokie, and this one is in shade Flushed. So that's what's on the cheeks. And then for my lip combo, I have the NYX lip pencil in Nude Beige, and then the Nomad lip gloss in Miel. And I feel like it's a nice kind of neutral pink leaning combo to go with a sort of monochromatic-ish kind of look. So I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out, but let's go ahead and jump to look number 2. All right, for look number 2, I really want to dip into the yellow shades of this palette. I might end up using maybe this peachy shade or something from this row, but I'm thinking it's going to be mostly yellow. I tried to kind of dress for the look so that hopefully it will really match what I'm going for. So first up, I want to go in with the lightest yellow matte shade, and I want to kind of blend this everywhere on the lid. I'm going to use my powder brush to brush away the shade that kind of ended up on my nose. The shade is quite powdery. I also want to use this shade and pinch the brush and run this along the lower lash line. Then I'm going to go into the deeper, more like dandelion yellow shade. I'm making sure to tap the brush off a lot because these yellows are a good bit powdery. And I want to put this on the outer part of the crease and the outer part of the lid just to add a little bit of dimension. Also, if you guys are noticing, I think my eyes look a little red. I had to wash my makeup off after work, and the Milk cleansing balm sometimes irritates my eyes, and today was one of those days. They were burning like crazy, so that's why they're red. I'm going to dust off my nose a little bit again. I feel like those yellow shades are kind of ending up on my nose a little bit. And then I actually think I'm going to go ahead and dip into my glitter glue and put this on the lid, because I want to go in with this bright yellow shimmery shade. It looks like it's got some kind of chunky glitters in it. And I want to put that on the lid before I add anything else because I might like it just with that. All right, I'm just going to go right into this shade here in the middle and tap this on the lid. And I really want to build this up a lot. I feel like this would be so pretty with a brown winged liner. I am considering that right now, but I kind of want to put a little bit of a twist on it, so I'm going to see how this turns out. This is such a bold yellow look. I feel like I never would wear this like without kind of not making myself, but that's the whole point of this video, is to dip into this palette. But I feel like yellows are some of my least used shades. This is kind of reminding me of some of the looks I've seen people create with, I think it's called the Sunshine palette from ColourPop. So I'm going to go in with the brush we were using earlier and kind of blend above the crease shade a little bit. I honestly think this look would be really pretty with a ton of mascara. I love like a clumpy lash look, you guys know. I also feel like it'd be really pretty to add a ton more shades and kind of like amp up the look. But what I'm really thinking about is Sarah Rose does these kind of, I say this in a good way, I don't know how else to describe it, like a ketchup and mustard sort of look, which is kind of funny that I'm saying that now because actually today, I think it's I saw something about it yesterday. It's that ketchup thing with Fenty keeps going around the internet. Ew, that's so gross. I don't know, you guys. I don't know what's up with that. I think that's nasty. But on a not nasty note, I really like Sarah Rose's looks where she does like the yellow eyeshadow and then a red liner. I think it's been a while since I saw that video from her, but there's a specific look I'm thinking of. But anyways, I'm thinking about taking this shade and making like a wing with it and then going over that with a brown liquid liner to kind of make it a little bit more defined. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try that out. I'm going to take an angled liner brush and go into this shade and try to tap off the brush. And then I want to kind of see if I can make a winged liner with this. I might need a little bit of a thicker brush. This one is the dual-ended kind of liner or brow brush from Katie Jane Hughes and Spectrum. I don't know how I feel about this. I think only a little bit of this is actually going to show up once I put on the brown liner. So we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it. I love this look on Sarah, but her skin tone is also a lot more like warm tone than mine. And also I feel like her eyes are like eyeliner eyes. You know what I mean? Like eyeliner, I feel like always looks so good on her eyes. But I have very small and pretty hooded eyes, so sometimes liner is quite tricky for me. Okay, that's where I'm gonna leave the shadow. I don't know, I feel like I'm going out on a limb on this one. For liquid liner, I'm gonna use this one. This is the NYX Epic Ink Liner. It's the liquid one in the shade Brown. And I'm going to try and kind of follow this line, but leave it slightly closer to the lash line. Okay, I kind of like that the shadow underneath is just kind of making it more of a reddish brown. So I pretty much just traced the whole liner. I feel like it looks a little bit more like a reddish brown now. Probably would have preferred it to just be the yellow look, but I really wanted to try something different. Part of me feels like I should just create a little bit more of like wearable looks with my 3 Looks 1 palette, but this is such a colorful palette that I figured I might as well kind of go out on a limb and just have some fun creating something new. Does anyone else like not breathe when you're doing liquid liner? Cause same. They're most definitely not even, but I feel like if I end up, if I try and fix it, it's gonna end up like to my hairline, so we're gonna leave it. I think I'm gonna use my Gilded Taupe eyeliner, also from NYX, but this is the pencil one, and I'm going to tightline and put this in my waterline. I probably should tightline with the darker brown, but to be honest, I don't feel like getting up and getting it because I have to like maneuver past the lights. I probably shouldn't even be putting liner on at all because my eyes are really irritated, so I'm just gonna put it in like the inner or the outer third of the waterline. I feel like it's like a 50-50 shot if that makeup removing balm is going to irritate my eyes or not, and today it really did. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pile up the mascara. This is the Essence Lash Princess. This is the Sculpted Volume one in the black and purple tube, and I'll be right back once I do that. Okay, I piled up the mascara and I really like how this look is turning out. I am looking at the palette and I'm actually thinking I'm gonna go in with the light pink shimmer shade as my inner corner. It might be a little bit too deep, but I at least wanna give it a shot and see kind of how it looks, and we'll go from there. We might need to like add some highlight on top. I'm gonna try it with a brush first. Okay, I think it will work, but I'm gonna try and pick it up with my finger. I feel like this shade is a little bit more on the subtle side. So especially when you pick it up with a brush, it's just more subtle. Ooh, I don't know. I feel like that really emphasizes the redness in my eyes right now. So maybe that wasn't the best idea. Yeah, okay. So instead, I'm going to go in with the face highlight that I used today. This is just the Milani Baked Highlight in Dulce Perla. And I'm just going to kind of top that on the inner corners. It's okay. It could have definitely been a little bit brighter. So real quick, let me go ahead and show you what I have on the rest of my face. Like I said, I used the Milani Baked Highlight, and that's the one I have on the cheeks as well. I used the Kokie blush in the shade Bellissima. Mine got like hard pan. I'm not really sure why. At first I thought it was a darker shade ending up here, but it is hard pan, and I pretty much only ever use a brush. I think I've only ever used a brush, so I don't really know why I'm having so much hard pan right there, but nonetheless, it still works just fine. I feel like it looks really pretty with a yellow eyeshadow look. I do have some chapstick on, which is why the lipstick looks extra creamy, but for lipstick, I used the Kokie lipstick in the shade Hazelnut Cream. This one is newer to me, but I really do like it. I feel like it's a very nice neutral lip that has just a little hint of hazelnut in it. But that is going to be it for look number 2. I'm actually very happy with how this turned out. Looking up close, I feel like the liner actually has a little bit of interest to it because of the shadow underneath the brown liner. I feel like it just kind of switches it up a little bit, and at first glance you might not know quite off the bat if it's a brown or a red liner. So this is a lot more of a comfortable way for me to wear the look that I really love on Sarah Rose. I don't know that that look is exactly for me and my skin tone and just what I like to see on myself, but I think I can really appreciate it, especially on her and on anyone else. But it was really fun to give it a shot, even though I did kind of cover it up with the brown liner. I still really like the effect that it had. I do like the pink inner corner actually, and if my eyes weren't so irritated, I think I'd like it a lot more. I do feel like This look just reminds me of a sunflower, and especially for some reason with my braided hair, I'm really liking that. But I hope that you guys enjoyed look number 2, but let's go ahead and jump to look number 3, the final look of this video. Okay, I'm back to create the third and final look for this video, and I'm really leaning towards kind of a smoky look, especially with this outer corner, but also with the matte purple shades. We're just gonna see how it goes, where the look goes, because honestly right now I'm not exactly sure. Like, I know the general kind of look I want to go for, reaching for these. I might even reach into that peach color, but we're just gonna kind of have to dive in because right now I'm not really like visualizing the look exactly, which I don't always. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. So I think I'll start out with a light kind of lavender shade and put this in the crease. I just used my REM concealer as my eyeshadow base and then set it down with my face powder. So that's kind of what we're working with right now. I'm afraid that this brush had a little bit of pink in it. So if it looks slightly more pink than purple, I'm sorry. With the same brush, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of the peach shade just to kind of make the pink look a little bit more intentional. I'm putting this on the front part of the crease, blending it into the lavender shade. And then I'm gonna build up the light lavender on top of it. It's just going to kind of help the gradient a little bit to the inner corner, I think, by adding the coral shade. All right, next up, I want to go in with the other purple matte shade. This one's a little bit more of like a gray tone. I'm going to tap the brush off and then pack this on the outer corner. With the first brush I was using, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the light lavender shade and blend this into the deeper one. I'm going to add a little bit more of the coral shade, still using the same brush. And then because I didn't dip into this shade in my review video, I think this is the one I want to put all over the lid. This is pretty comparable just by comparisons in looks to the shade Nebula from the Mercury Retrograde palette from Huda. So I want to try and put this all over the lid and kind of see how I feel about it. But I actually really like the kind of gradient of the purples and the coral shade. Before dipping into that shimmer shade, of course, I'm going to add the NYX glitter glue. I expected to have to do more work for this look, but I'm honestly really happy with where it is already. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the shade. I might end up switching my lip color though, because I feel like that is kind of clashing, but we can fix that. But I just want to tap this on the lid. I think the shade is pretty, but I will say I prefer the one from the Huda palette just because it's a little bit more special, more shimmery. I'm gonna go ahead and take off that lip shade so that I don't get it kind of mixed in with the eye look right now. Okay, I actually really do like this look. I feel like it's very reminiscent of a Mercury Retrograde look, but it's nice. I'm going to take a little bit more of the coral shade and put this on the inner portion. And I think I'm even going to pick up a little bit of the light pink shade. This one's very powdery, so I'm going to make sure to really tap off the brush. But I want to run this on top of everything really close to my brow. Yeah, this is very reminiscent of a Mercury Retrograde look. For the lower lash line, I'm going to go in again with the light lavender shade, pinch the brush, and run this along the lower lash line. I really do like this lavender shade though. Also, as I'm using this palette more, I've noticed that my little paper here on the mirror is not stuck down, and I've tried to push it down, but it's just not staying. It's not sticky anymore. So that's a little bit frustrating. But I understand like things like that are gonna happen, but just something to note that I have noticed that over the last 3 looks in this video. But I'm gonna go ahead and put some mascara on and choose a lip color. All right, I took a little bit of a risk with a matching lip, basically, with like the mauve sort of undertone and then a little bit of purple sparkle on top. So let me walk you through what I've got on the face. So I actually tried a version of underpainting today, just kind of like what I felt like trying out. And I used the Flower Beauty Blush Balm in Nectar underneath my foundation. So you're seeing a little bit of it kind of peek through. I did add a lot of it on, so you're seeing a good amount of it, I guess, peek through, but it's a little bit more toned down with my foundation. But that's the blush that I'm wearing today. If you were wondering for lips earlier before I wiped it off, that was the ColourPop Glowing Lip in the shade Indulge Me. I think it's a really nice shade, but it just wasn't really what I was going for today. So instead, I put on the lip liner Nude Suede Shoes from NYX. I added the Bite Lip Crayon in the shade Kava, And then I topped it with none other than the purple gloss from Nomad. This one is the lavender one. So that is the lip combo. I just kind of popped a little bit of it on to kind of match the look on the eyes. But that is going to be it for look number 3. I really like how this one turned out. Even though I feel like I probably could have created it with my Huda Mercury Retrograde palette, that doesn't mean you guys necessarily have that palette. It's also been discontinued, I think, so I don't know if you can get your hands on it anymore. So if that's the case and you did pick up this palette, this is a nice way to kind of create a look that could have been created with the other palette, which you guys know I love. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Be sure to let me know in the comments which look was your favorite, 1, 2, or 3. My next video like this, where I create 3 looks with one palette, will be with this one. This is the Profusion Ethereal palette, so I'm really excited to create that. So be sure to stay tuned on my channel if you want to see that, and also a ton more coming soon with all of the rest of the palettes in my collection. I'm very excited to continue this series for you guys. But with that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more content from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!